There we go.
It comes around every off season, and for the third instalment, welcome to Team Taz versus Team Warder. We're here at Japan. The Tier 3 and Tier 4, of course, always get the highlights. My name, of course, is Xbox Night, aka Jack, your traditional host of Team Taz Warder. Sadly, I was unavailable on Wednesday as I was celebrating my 21st birthday, but here to bring in all the action alongside the man, the myth, the legend that brings you Tier 1 action week in, week out. Troop Master UK, aka Ollie. I've completely butchered your name, but how are you doing?
I'm good, yeah. You won't be the first, you won't be the last, Jack. But no, I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to another Tazo versus Warder event. And they always bring a big bang, don't they? So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, of course, and you have your choice of action here today. It's two different race events of 40 drivers have come together to make this event possible, of course. That is for charity. It's all for a good cause. So at the minute, the score stands 15-10 in favour of Taz, thanks to the 3 out of 5 wins he got in the gaming night on Wednesday night. Of course, you can go back and watch that on this very channel. But since then, they've now come back around for the new events, and for some reason my camera's not letting me change. But it is advantage Taz, Ollie. But with 100 points for the race winner around here, anything is possible.
Oh, definitely, and especially at the circuit, Jack. You know, it's a crazy circuit, and there's so many opportunities to overtake, and we've seen so many manic things happen at the circuit. So, and like I said, it's high points in it at the moment, and with having 2 separate tiers racing this evening, I mean, it's I wouldn't like to predict it. I'll be honest, Jack.
Yes, yeah. I mean, so far in the past 2 events, I don't mean this horribly to Gareth, but he has been smoked by Taz. But maybe third time's the charm. You never know with Gareth. I'm sure we'd quite like to sell that one if he does manage to win this time in the Tier 1 box for you next season. I'm sure you'll probably be able to hear the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. You'll bang that drum until it breaks.
Certainly sounds right with Gareth. Well, of course, they both are on the grid today. Taz in the Alpine and Gareth in the McLaren. Although Gareth reporting that he's already had some issues before he even got started. I think he's sprinkling in the excuses early on. I think, Ollie, is what we'd say.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like you said, he's had his jab today, and he's feeling a little bit under the weather. But I'm sure he'll give us a performance regardless of if his arm is hurting or not. Fingers crossed, at least.
Yes, so, right, whilst we wait for the first lap times to come on the board, why don't we run through the teams? I'll tell you what, Ollie, if you've got the list, I'll run through Gareth and you run through Taz. So, we start off with Gareth at McLaren. We've got Scrub and, of course, the glorious man himself, Warder Zero. Aston Martin go with Tunstall Stokey and Mikey Fark, who people remember as a very old veteran in the Aston Martin. Lovely to see him back on the grid for this season. Total Caesar and Smitty go in the Williams for Gareth. And then at the Alfa Romeo, TS Big Will and Kieran Wright. And finally Mercedes, TS Sways and Scotsman. Over to you, Ollie, for Team Taz.
Team Taz, obviously we have Mr. Tazo in the Alpine with Bonta as his teammate. Over at Ferrari, we've got Greens and F1XL Dom. Alpha Tauri, it is PRS Roro and Slow Dog 76. In the Red Bull, LFC and Ricky Barbe in the Red Bull. And finally in the Haas, it is Fizzy Jam Jam and VR Triz. Right off the grid for the race tonight in Japan.
Yes, of course. And well, even though they're not wearing the same team colours, the first lap time begin to come on the board with Total Caesar going top of the timesheets. Ollie, it'd be interesting to see how teammates do work because they are in parties together, they'll be discussing. So they're not in the same colours, but they are working together throughout this event.
Yeah, we always, obviously when we do our normal commentary, Jack, we see team members working together. We saw at sort of maybe some of the longer tracks where the China, the Azerbaijans, where slipstream is in effect. But here in the actual race, you know, you've got another 10 cars on your side, so it's a big old team effort here tonight. So I definitely think we'll have as qualifying and as the race builds up, definitely team play will come into play. And unfortunately, after the first couple of laps here in qualifying, Jack, we've got Total Caesar out in qualifying. He managed to do a lap of a 1:30.2. but that's not what you want at the start of this qualifying session here in Japan.
Yeah, I just saw him as I was on board with Stokey as he went past. He's binned it coming up the Dunlop curve, and he's really walloped the wall by looks from the left-hand side and ended up just on the gravel on the right-hand side. So early outing for him, but he's currently P3, as you mentioned, on 30.2. Good lap time for him as his teammate just has a 31.0 to go P7. But currently, the man up front, F5 driver last season for Mercedes, Tunstall Stokey, really half a second clear of the rest of the field. Fair play, good man.
Yeah, good luck for him so far. Early days though, Jack. We've still got 12.5 minutes left of this session, so still early, and it's very, like you could say, I don't know what you'd call it, sort of muggy sort of weather at the moment. Clouds, low cloud cover, and we don't know whether we've got. Unfortunately, we don't know what the weather conditions are like in this race as of yet. I'm sure, hopefully, someone will tell us in the chat as we go on. But that would have been a great feature for this game, Jack. We've had the weather and knowing what would happen. Unfortunately, we don't have it.
One of the many things that we just keep asking for in the commentary box, but they keep making it hard for us. They make the job as difficult. Not as difficult as it used to be, of course, but Fizzy Jam Jam goes top of the timesheets for Haas at 28.5, and that, well and truly, is a statement of intent. The Scotsman just got up to the front row of 29.4, but he's nearly a whole second clear of the rest of the field. If that's not a sign of early pace, I don't know what is.
Yeah, great job from Fizzy Jam Jam, obviously on Team Taz there for the Williams, Haas driver. So this is my very first commentary, Jack, so I'm still getting used to some of the colours. There are quite a few different ones. Obviously, Williams were white last year. Now they're what are they? Blue, aren't they? Or darker blue. So I'm still getting used to that. But I'm sure as the session goes on, I'll get there. But 11 minutes to go, and the session, like I said, Jack, Fizzy Jam on currently on provisional pole.
Yeah, and also going back to the colours, it's very confusing because Williams and Alpine are very, very similar. I kept getting that wrong throughout the ASR stream. That was not an easy feat, I have to say. Lap times going in, though. The two Alpha Tauris for Team Taz go second and fifth, sorry. 29.4, 29.9 for the pair of them. So a good first outing at the moment. Anyone else got towards the line? I think we've got Kieran Wright. He's invalid on his particular lap time, but so far no one really coming quite close to Fizzy Jam Jam, but a real good battle for second down to fourth there, Ollie. 700s between three cars. It's
mad, isn't it? And it shows how competitive these guys are, and this league is all together when you've got guys all in the 29.4, so it's great to see here in Japan in this one-off race. And some ball with Ward or Gareth for his very first time lap. Jack, so I don't know whether you want to jump on board with them, but it's been a bit of a sketchy start to the first corner.
Yeah, let's follow Gareth through the S's. Now the pressure's on him as he comes through one of the very difficult sections as he's trying to power his way out in fifth, down to fourth, even down to third gear there. Gets on the curve on the right-hand side and up the Dunlop curve. Don't hit that inside curve. I have seen deaths many times, myself included, at that corner. Degner corner now for Gareth. And to be fair, I must admit, I don't think Gareth's actually finished the Team Taz first Gareth event. I think he's always had piss poor luck and not make the checkered flag. So first objective for Gareth, get to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I think that's the best option. And luckily in these races as well, Jack, it's doesn't matter where you finish, you still get points. So even if he is 5 minutes behind the leader, he still gets that 5 points if he finishes last. So I'm sure he'll make sure he does. Well, fingers crossed we get all the drivers finished, including Gareth. But he's just come round Spoon for his very first time lap, coming towards the 130R, an iconic corner on the circuit. Let's see if he's flat. He is just about as he comes through there and into the Castro Triangle for the very first time. Can he nail it? Looks, just hops the curbs nicely, and we'll see what Gareth does on his first timed lap. It is up to 14th with a 132.3.
But the crucial thing is, Gareth's got a lap time on the board as the out Red Bull behind him, a Forensic Narwhal goes a 30.0 into P7, and we're just all that's left on the track really is just a couple of cars going fairly slowly. I just have to say, Ollie, obviously the order that we've got them on the spreadsheet, I don't know if you can see the screenshot that we got sent in the WhatsApp group, but they are in the order that they were selected, and the Haas's were the last selected teams in the selection process, and currently they're P1 and 4, so they flew under the radar quite heavily.
Oh, definitely. You look at the names, and obviously if you look at if we compare to obviously real life F1, Haas at the back of the grid, and it's nice to see them at the front of the grid, and they're showing what they're made of, and that could really count in Taz's favour in this event if they can get a good qualifying and a good start to this Grand Prix. I mean, also Slow Dog also in Taz's team, and Scotsman he's in Gareth's team, I think. If I am correct.
You are correct.
Yeah, I am correct. But
Yes.
good start for Taz's team. 3 out of the top 4 on his side. Obviously, still very early doors in qualifying, and the race is a completely different beast. But for now, Taz has the upper hand, let's say.
Yes, he does. Now, of course, those that would know Taz would definitely not have Scotsman on his team. He's still grudgy about the season 16 incident where they came together on track, the 2 Red Bull teammates. I still don't think Taz has well and truly forgive Scotsman, but to be honest with you, I don't really think Scotsman cares. There's just been into the pit lane. Gareth and Narwhal have just come together, and dare I say, that might be 5 grid penalty. No, I think they've got away with it. That's a good sign. Yeah, that was good. Gareth got the pit limiter on about literally just as he came up towards the pit entrance, and Forensic was coming in full speed. Not ideal, but nevertheless, the qualifying session does carry on. We've got Big Will currently out on the track, currently P9, of course. Gave us the coverage, in fact, both drivers did. The Mercedes and Alfa Romeo, TS Big Will and TS Sways, the F3 action last season. However, fair play to Big Will, congratulations to him. He's taking team owner next season, of course, and gets ready for draft night come Wednesday and Thursday this very week. A few drivers on this grid, the likes of Scotsman as well and Dom. So I don't want to take the focus away from tonight too much, Ollie, but an early chance for some lower league scouting for these guys?
I think so. This is almost how to describe it. Almost their FA Cup. I sorry to compare it to football. I know we're talking about F1 here, but it's that chance where you see in football lower league teams showing what they're made of and beating maybe a bigger team. And I guess it's the same thing here. They get an opportunity to maybe show off what they're made of and show off to some of the team owners in this league. So I hope everyone has a good race and can really show off what they're made of. And we never know what will happen, and they could get a good draft pick come Wednesday night.
They could indeed, of course, as Will goes second fastest for Alfa Romeo, 29.2. Still a good 7 tenths off Fizzy Jam Jam, but a good lap time nevertheless. We got anyone up towards the line. We have got Swayze, but I don't think he's on lap time. Bonch is coming out of the 2 Degners down in P10. The man had a really good season last season. Bonter in the end in F3, one of the highest seeded drivers in this grid. I think he's actually the highest in terms of where they were last season. Of course, he finished 3rd place for McLaren, scoring 240 points, only 4 points behind Chips and Davey in 2nd. Currently P10, and so far struggling out there.
Yeah, he is down in 10-10. But again, it's early days, and he's on a quick lap. He's 5 tenths up, coming through sector 2, coming into 130R and towards the Castro Triangle. So we'll see. That will put him up 29.8 if he finishes his lap time on the current trajectory for Bonta in 10th place, glued to the inside line coming around the final corner, and that moves him up into P7 with 29.8. Pretty good maths there for once for me.
Bang on the dot, Ollie. Play.
That is a first. Usually I'm miles off, so I'll take that for once. Oh, and he hits the wall as he comes through the S's, Jack. Sorry to cut across you, but that is Bonta out early doors, and he's crashed out just to come the very first S for the Alpine team, and that's not what he wants for confidence-wise.
No, it's not ideal at all, but his teammate, the head of the team, Team Taz, is now coming up towards the final sector. Let's hope Taz doesn't repeat his teammate's antics and bins it at the end of his lap time. He really powered out 7th gear there. And now coming through 130, as mentioned, an absolute iconic corner that even this year I think is going to catch a few people out, because the curbs this year are very difficult, and that outside curve is going to prove to be quite difficult, as will most of them around here. It's a difficult circuit really to have a race on this season, as he goes second fastest in Mr. Tazo, 29.0, leading by example, I would say, of a lap time like that.
Yeah, great lap. However, still 5 tenths behind Fizzy Jam Jam. So I don't know what Fizzy Jam Jam had for breakfast this morning, but he is on a charge at the moment, like 5 tenths I was going to make a jam joke, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I think it's too early in the season to make those sort of comments. But I say that, but Taz drops down to P3 now, and Tris moves up to the P2, and the second man into the 28. So 28.9 for both the Haas drivers, and like you said earlier, Jack, Haas proving us wrong once again.
Yeah, the last two selected in the entire selection process are currently 1-2 in qualifying. So fair play, that is pretty good so far, of course. It does mean that Taz currently holds 1-2-3. Gareth's highest man is Big Will in P4. So far, in typical Gareth order fashion, it is kind of dominated by Gareth in the early phase. But as we mentioned, still a long way to go. We're only in qualifying and only seeing lap times come on the board as the guys are coming on the way out now to really make them final runs. And do you think the other guys went potentially a little bit early? The likes of Tris, Taz, they've done lap times with a few minutes to go.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think it is quite early. Obviously, track evolution in the game as well is a factor. I'm a bit surprised they came out early, but I believe they got enough tyres to go for one more round, and they seem to be sporadically going out on track again. But still, we've got Mikey Greeners and Scuzz still yet to do lap times down in 18th, 19th, and 20th. And Mikey still in the pit lane with 2 minutes to go. He's cutting it fine, Jack.
Yeah, I can't really see how Aston Martin make its way out the pits. His friends have got it all sorts of wrong there at Dunlop Curve. Yeah, I'm not really seeing any sign of movement at Aston Martin, just watching the little circles, and I can't see him making it out of the pits. So there might not be a lap time coming from him. Green is on a lap, and Scrub, of course, those two getting ready to begin laps. In fact, Scrub is on one, on the mediums, interestingly. So far, all we've seen is softs, other than Kieran Wright down in 15th, who's done a lap time on the medium compound tyres. So Scrub playing the outside the box strategy here, I would say, trying something different.
Definitely, and we've seen it work in the past, Jack. When they have done the alternate strategy, they finish in the right place in qualifying. They've got a great opportunity in the race, and we've seen in the past at turn one it can be chaos. You know, we think back to Mansell in '91 or Weber Grosjean more recently in 2012 with chaos at the start of the Grand Prix. Who knows what will happen at turn one, and maybe starting on the mediums will be beneficial if he can work his way through the grid early doors. But we'll have to wait and see. It's like we said, it's a long race, and anything can happen in these one-off special races that Taz and Gareth have organised.
Of course, for 1 minute to go, I'll briefly explain to you the premise of this event. Of course, the loser has to donate a set money to the other one's chosen charity, but of course, traditionally it ends up that both of them do. Throughout the stream, we will be providing links to them as we've got Scrub coming up towards the line, so we'll run through very quickly who each one has decided to represent this time. So Taz once again representing the Mind organisation, of course, for mental health, and Gareth doing Beat for the Brain Tumour Trust. So if you'd like, of course, to go and donate to them, we very much appreciate any donations, because of course it is a one-off charity event. It is meant to be a bit of fun, and that's what it's all about, really. You know, this is the one reason why I love this event, because it is about sort of giving back in an F1XL style. Yeah,
you're completely right, Jack, and whoever wins, they're both fantastic charities that they've chosen. So it's great to see, and a great cause to do a race like this for.
Indeed, we're now at the final few seconds. In fact, there is the checkered flag of qualifying, literally right on the money. Greeners has gone third right at the end of the session with 28.9. What can Will do to improve? He remains the same, done a 29.4 as his final attempt. Tunstall Stokey, 700ths up, coming through 130R. There's a McLaren off somewhere. I believe that's Scrub just on the exit of that corner. Or is it Gareth? It's probably Gareth. Because he's out of the session. Round the Casio triangle, though, comes the former F5 driver. Tunstall Stokey for Aston Martin goes P5, 29.1. Good effort by that man, I would say. Coming towards Spoon Curve, we've got an Alfa Romeo Mercedes. I don't think either of them on a lap time. Scotsman just behind. Anyone you could spot, Ollie?
Well, you say that Swayze was on a lap time, and Kieran Wright came across the track trying to get out the way and went the wrong way, and that is Swayze down in 14th. Unfortunately for him, it could be down to 15th if lap times go against him, but Swayze missed out on a good lap there.
Indeed he did. Slow Dog 3 temps up, coming up towards the final sector. He's also got the Mercedes and soon to be team owner next season of Scotsman. He's currently just behind him by a couple of hundredths. In fact, Scotsman has decided to cut turn one, cut the final corner, abandon it. Slow Dog goes ahead of Big Will, but only by a fraction, 100th of a second between the two. Goes up to P6. Roland not on a lap time. Scrub not on a lap time as well. There is now for a Mayo coming towards the final few corners, but I don't think he's on a lap time. I think we're pretty much there. I think unless Dom is going to try and find some time. Nope, he's going slowly. I think that's it, Ollie. So it is a Haas 1-2. Often you say that.
Gee, did not expect that. Like you mentioned, both guys, the last pick, the guys nobody wanted, they managed to prove everybody wrong. We're putting it first and second. So I'm sure Taz is pretty happy with that top four on his side as well, with Greeners there in the Ferrari. So interesting qualifying, and seeing Scrub there in P11 starting in the perfect point to start on mediums as well. Well, it could be, obviously. Outside the top 10, he's in the perfect position there, starting in P11. So, God, I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited. First commentary of the season, Jack, and I'm absolutely buzzing.
Good. I'm glad, because I think you're doing the queue in that one. At the end of the session, it is a Taz the top four. The highest Gareth runner is P5, Tunstall Stokey. Well done to the Aston Martin. Slowed off for AlphaTauri, Taz, Big Will. So 5th and 7th for the highest two Gareth runners. Scotsman for Mercedes, so he was the last round of picks for Gareth. He starts on P8, so a good job done by him. Forensic Narwhal is Red Bull for Taz, and finally Roro is of course AlphaTauri for Taz. So only 3 of the top 10 are Team Gareth, but the important thing, Ollie, it's not decided by qualifying, it's decided by the race.
Exactly, yeah, you're completely right, Jack. But I will quickly run down the order before we get into the race. It's Fizzy Jam Jam who puts it on pole with a 1:28.5. VR Triss in second, Greeners third, Tazo in P4, Tunstall Stoke in fifth, Slow Dog sixth, Big Will in seventh, Scottman in eighth, Forensic Narwhal ninth, and Roro runs off the top 10. Scrub in 11th, Bonta in 12th. And I can't seem to go down my order, so I can't do anything below 40. Sorry, Jack, unless you can make it move up and down. I'm having controller issues.
So Swayze 14th, Kieran Wright 15th, Ricky Bobby 16th, Smitty 17th, Warder 18th, Dom 19th, and Mikey in 20th. You can tell F1XL's back, because we need 2 people to do a grid rundown.
Yeah, I do apologise. I realised I had to click A to advance and then go down. It's, always some technical issues with Excel, but we're ready for the race now.
We are indeed, and it's crystal clear skies, as it sort of did at the end of qualifying. We had lovely blue skies at the end, which meant the lap times kind of got very much quicker. And now in the race, there's a few clouds, but we have been reported it is dry, and for hopefully what is set to be another instant classic that really was at first, Ollie, was thought as a little bit of a time filler for the season, but I think now is becoming more and more of a staple event.
I think so. Yeah, it's really sort of gained momentum now, hasn't it, as a build up to the season, and it's a fantastic event. And not only is the racing great, Jack, it's also the meaning behind the race. Obviously, you've got the battle between the XL owners in Gareth and Taz, but also the charity aspect to it as well. So it's a very encompassing event, and I hope it continues for the foreseeable future as well.
Yes, I've just put both links in the chat, so if anyone would like to go donate, of course, that is very much appreciated for this event, because that's what it well and truly is all about. Of course, we've been over a while in traditional F1XL fashion before the guys do press A. So I'll ask you this, Ollie, what would you do outside the top 10 in this particular position? Because it is a soft medium around Japan, it always has been. Mm-hmm. Do you start on the mediums to play the long game?
If I was in their seat, I would. It's Japan has been difficult to overtake in the past. Very sort of a thin circuit, especially the first sector. We can see overtaking through there, but it is difficult. If you can park your car in the right place, you've got a great opportunity to stay ahead. So if I was them, out to the top 10, maybe in the mediums, and try and gain some places with maybe some carnage near the start of this Grand Prix. But you never know. I know we've got blue skies now, but you know how this game goes, Jack. Rain can come out of nowhere, especially Japan as well. It might be monsoon season, we don't know. But yeah, that's what I'd do. Yes,
it's definitely makes it interesting. It's not as bad as Project Cars, of course, where you used to just be able to see torrential thunderstorms suddenly appear from crystal clear skies. But yeah, we don't quite know what might happen throughout this race. Of course, if you would prefer to watch the Tier 1 stream, but of course you prefer to stay around on the F1XL channel, you can go watch the Tier 1 stream, twitch.tv/BeastieNUFC. And let us know how they're getting on as well, of course, where we see a lot of the F1 and F2 guys going on, of course, right up your end and my end, Ollie, of course. We've got Swain, Lightshock, Matt45, Phoenix, Phantom, Prophet Meaty, all taking part, Madman taking part. So there really is some high caliber drivers alongside those, but this is really where the bottom tier guys do get the spotlight, and it's not very often they get that.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a great choice by Taz and Gareth to give the tier 3 and 4 guys their chance, a bit of mainstream Twitch streaming, really. I think it gives that the opportunity, and not only for other drivers to view them, but also guys who normally tune into the Twitch streams. They can see what caliber drivers they have, and then maybe one week they might tune into F5 or tune into F3 maybe. So it's a great choice, I think, by giving them some media, I guess, and hopefully they give us a good race today as well. And we've seen how good the top guys are in the past, but it'd be good to see what sort of caliber we have in the lower tiers as well.
Yes, of course. We're still waiting for the press. I think we've got a current bit of problem. We've got some people lagging out at the moment. Typical Codemasters game coming together. But of course, the crucial thing is, of course, we have mentioned that the Haas drivers were taken last. However, they don't actually have a track record in F1XL. Triss is a rookie, which is awesome to see someone take part in a preseason race, despite not really knowing too much about it. And Fizzy Jam Jam only raced once last season, a reserve in F4. Other than that, was not on the grid at all. So those two were fairly unknown. So I can understand why they were taken late, because you don't want to gamble on someone you don't know. However, it's a gamble that very much paid off. Yeah,
I know it's worked in Taz's favour for now, and like I say, you don't want to bet on an unknown quantity, but we'll see what they can do in the race. But I'm sure the other 18 drivers on the grid won't make it easy for them. Hopefully, once we get going, and we're waiting on the final few players to ready up. It's taking some time here, Jack. The fingers crossed. We see the racing commence soon.
This is the point where we find out that they've already started. We're just stuck like this.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be dreadful, but that'd probably be our luck. But no, we're still waiting for official go ahead, of course. So I'll just take a second quickly to just run you through sort of where everyone sort of was roughly last season. Of course, we know the top two were fairly unknown. Greeners, of course, took place last season in F4. Had a really good job, finished 8th in the championship. Took a victory actually at the 4th round of the season. So a good job for him in the Haas last season. Taz, of course, was on and off racing, of course, presented action as well. Of course, joined you a couple of times, I think, in the commentary box.
Yeah,
last season
he did. Yeah, when Gareth was away, he was a great fill-in, as well as Big Will. You both dumping in when required and doing a fantastic job.
Awesome to see them. Of course, Will, of course, was one of the two hosts of F3 last season as well. So awesome to see him on the grid. And also seemed, as I mentioned, to get team owner. Massive congratulations to the Scotsman. I think he'll be a fantastic candidate. Tunstall Stokey, of course, I mentioned last season, was Mercedes. He took a victory, actually. Finished in 7th overall in the championship and scored a couple of podiums. That victory came round 13, so right slap bang in the middle. Slow Dog, of course, was Ferrari team owner last season and was half of the constructors' winners in the F4 side of things, with Frost had taken the championship, 392 points. Finally, we have the A button. Big Will, of course, Scotsman last season, F5 Racing Point, alongside a man that is on the grid today with F1XL Dom. But them two, of course, representing Mercedes and Ferrari, which I think are rival teams. Yes, they are, so they're not on the same team this time. Forensic Narwhal, of course, raced on and off for F1XL, and PRS Roro, once an F2 driver, now in the Tier 2, so early signs that he might be finding this game a bit more difficult. But finally, Ollie, we can watch some cars go around the track. Enough of the boring stats. Let's get on with some racing.
Yeah, finally we're ready to go. I think we may have lost Mikey having internet troubles throughout this early period. But yes, we finally have the and we've got a spin already from, I believe is that Greeners, or is that Big Will, who's...
No, I think it's Triss.
Is it Triss? Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, I think I need to wear some glasses, Jack. But yeah, not the greatest to start from the P2 man. Already having a quick spin. Obviously, maybe his tyres aren't ready and warm, and the Haas engineer took the tyre blankets off too early.
I think both Haas are having that problem because Jam Jam just put himself in the grass through the S's. Not a good start for them. There's been a 3-car disqualification. Stokey, Slow Dog, Big Will, all have been disqualified from the formation lap. Dare I say, this could be a sign of things to come. Let's hope they've getting all the crashing out now.
You'd hope so. Yeah, I think it's pre-race nerves, Jack, and it's a new game. It's a one-off event. You know, they want to show off what they're made of. So I think
Taz.
And Taz, I just saw that underneath the tunnel after Degner 2 is bidding it. So I don't know whether all the engineers seem to have forgot the tyre blankets today, Jack, because we're having a couple of spins, or maybe the marshals put some ice on the track. I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I didn't know we were forecast some invisible rain. It's fascinating to see. Apparently that is a glitch on this game where some people are getting rain and others aren't. That's another one that they've found.
Fantastic.
Not quite sure how. Anyway, let's forget about Codemaster. Let's talk about tyre choices because that's much more fascinating. Top 10, of course, were all on soft compound tyres. Scrub's gone for the interesting. Bonta gone for the white ruled hard compound tyres. Turtle Season mediums. Swayze on the mediums. Kieran Wright and Ricky Bobby, they're both on the soft compound tyres. Smitty starts on the mediums for Williams. Gareth opting for the hard, so he's thinking the long game. Dom on the mediums for Ferrari, and finally at the back of the field, of course, still yet to come in, Mikey on the softs as well. Not everyone gone for the alternate strategy outside the top 10. A lot of people going aggressive for their strategy, Ollie.
Yeah, I was thinking that, Kieran and Ricky Bobby both on the soft tyres, so they expecting to do a lot of overtaking early doors in this Grand Prix, and with Bonta and Gareth also on the hard tyres, so they're going a long game. So we'll see how they fare as they get round. But the guys are just about lining up. Taz having to do a lot of overtaking to get back into his original grid position there. But they're lining up on the grid, and I'll hand it back to yourself, Jack, to start us off here in Japan.
Thank you very much. It's a staple event that always sees action, carnage, and ultimately a little bit of fun. A Haas front row. How often do you say that? Green is alongside him. It's a Taz top 4. Will it be a Taz top 4 come the end of it? Who will win the annual Taz vs Gareth event? It is 2-0 in the series. 15-10 on the score sheet. Who will come out at the checkered flag as the victor as we get ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights and Team vs Taz Part 3 is off in Japan. It's a really poor start from Vitris. He doesn't get away at all well. Fuzzy Jam Jam safely leads. Green is alongside Taz coming down towards turn 1. The AlphaTauri Scotsman. Sorry, that's Slow Dog going alongside Scotsman round towards the turn 1 for the first time. Turns to Stokey. Safe on the P6. A car for the back. I think that was Scrub. Just going a little bit out wide, coming through the first 6 quarters. There's another car. I've had Slow Dog gone off on the exit of turn 1. He's got absolutely no front wing. Disastrous start for the AlphaTauri. But Fizzy Jam Jam safely leads ahead of Greeners and ahead of Scotsman, ahead of Stokey. Fairly quiet at the start, but an awful getaway from one of the two Hasses.
Yeah, awful start of Vitris there, down to 16:30 doors, Jack, and also Slow Dog out as well, hitting the wall. Luckily, he's still going, and a penalty, 10-second penalty for Kieran Wright already by exceeding track limits. So a whole carnage near the back of the grid early doors in this Grand Prix here in Japan, but it is Fizzy Jam Jam leading us away, and already over a second ahead of Greeners.
Could this be the easiest 27 laps of Jam Jam's life? It's a long way to go though as of yet, but he's got a safe lead over Greeners. Then comes Taz. Stokey has just got past Scotsman at the hairpin. A great move by the Aston Martin, who looks very, very racy, I have to say, and looks like a different man this season. Was very conservative in the past few seasons. I can tell you now he's his team owner and teammate, but this season looks like a man possessed. Bonta's gone off on the exit of 200R on the hard compound tyres. He rejoins just at the back of the long train, but it is fairly divided as they come through 130R for the first time. Scotsman's got it all out of shape, heading up towards the Casio triangle. Big Will's up to the inside of Forensic, who's gave him a little bit of room, but was not able to capitalise on that opportunity as they finish lap number 1. Fizzy Jam Jam is dropping down the order, but it's a timing glitch.
Yeah, unfortunately we still have that, but I'll look at Forensic Narwhal has popped it down the inside, but not close enough. But Scotsman has gone wide around the exit of turn 1, Jack, and that's allowed Forensic Narwhal up the inside into turn 2. Great move and great opportunistic positioning of the car to get past the Mercedes. Now it's Big Wilshire. Does Scotland spun it, and he's round to coming through with the S's, and that's awful for the Mercedes driver. Still has 4 wheels on his wagon, luckily, but he's falling down the grid, Jack, early doors in the Grand Prix.
dear, oh dear, that's not at all what Scotsman want as he rejoins fairly down the order. Of course, we can't actually see where officially it is because we're still waiting for the timing to fully update. We can still tell you it's Fizzy Jam Jam that safely leads, and Scotsman's lost it again at Degnum 1, and he's, I think, avoided the barrier somehow. And into the pits has come Slow Dog. He's just come out on the medium compound tyres. Who else have we had to come into the pit on the very first lap?
Let's have a quick look. We've had Vitrus, Scrub and Slow Dog all in the pits early doors, Jack, and we've got penalties for Kieran Wright and Slow Dog as well. And Vitrus having an awful race, Jack. He's off again through the S's, so it's not been a good start for the Haas. Well, it's been a horrific start for the Haas driver here in Japan.
Yep, and dare I say another one's gone. Yep, Kieran Wright's gone at Spoon Curve, so we've lost another one, sadly, as they now begin lap 3. Jam Jam still leads ahead of Greeners, ahead of Taz. There's a huge gap behind as Stokey's right on the back of him. Sorry, then there's a big gap to Forensic and Big Will in 5th and 6th, of course. Doing a good job so far. I don't know if Will got damaged because he was right in front of Scotsman when he spun, so I don't know if there was contact, but he looks okay for the moment. Then comes Caesar and Peace. Have a good start from him. And let's run you through where everyone is in terms of teams. So it is it is Taz who occupies 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Stokey, the highest Gareth runner in P4, joined by another Taz man in Forensic, and then Big Will. So currently Forensic stuck in I'm gonna have to say it, a Gareth sandwich.
Well, it was always going to happen, Jack. It was always going to.
Is your timing screen a little bit buggered?
Total Caesar is 1.3 minutes behind Big Will, but on circuit he is no more than 2 seconds. So not sure what's happening between 6th and 7th.
Yeah, and according to me, Greeners is 1 minute 30 ahead of Fizzy Jam Jam.
He's only 1.4 on my screen, so I think we're having separate timing issues, which combine together to have a massive timing issue, it looks like, but hopefully fixes itself shortly.
Here's hoping, but of course we've got DRS now down this one and only straight, and I think that's what makes this track brilliant, as Will's going to line up a move here on Forensic. Team Taz versus Team Gareth, as once again Beatrice is off and out of the session. We have lost a driver, but Big Will's down the inside, and the safety car immediately brought out exactly as soon as Forensic got past him. Sorry, Big Will got past him.
Yeah, good move from Big Will. A move down the inside through turn 1, one of the few overtaking opportunities on this. Again, like you mentioned, Jack, DRS coming down that straight gives a great opportunity. We've seen some fantastic moves in the past. We've seen fantastic crashes there. Senna Prost is the one that sticks in my mind there. But Big Will getting past just before the safety car. And I wonder whether that'll trigger anyone for an early stop on lap 4 of 27, but it will punch up the grid again. It looks like my timing glitch is now fixed, Jack, so the gaps will come together, and we'll know where everyone is exactly, hopefully, very shortly.
Yes, I have mine, fortunately, so now we can have a bit better information about where everyone is. Just like to point out, by the way, I think Mikey is still AI. Yes, he is, but he's P10. So his AI has gone from the back of the field to P10 in 4 laps. Now, if I was Gareth, I'd be saying that counts, surely.
Instead, I don't think he officially started, Jack. So I'm not sure whether Gaz has got any leg to stand on.
I was Gareth. He'd find a leg to stand on. You should know that better than I do.
Yeah, that's very true. But we'll see what happens. But Fizzy Jam Jam into the pits. Under the safety car, Jack, and whether see Greeners. Yeah, Greeners does follow him, as does Taz. So soft runners taking an early pit stop here under the safety car.
There's been a crash with the safety car. Swayze is out of the session under the safety car. I don't know how that's happened. There's a 5-second penalty for, I believe it was Roland, or Roro, of course he's known now. I always call him Roland because I don't really like that name. But anyways, into the pits for a front wing change. So obviously there has been some sort of contact somewhere down the line. But what's interesting, by the way, so the top 2 Gareth drivers staying out. Forensic also stayed out. Turtle Teaser kind of had to stay out, and the AI is staying out. So is that a sign that maybe it is too early for a pit stop on the safety car if the AI is not doing it?
Yeah, you usually look at the AI, especially when it rains. You look at what they're doing with regard to pit stops and staying out for now. I mean, where have these guys come out? So, but however, they've all gone to the hards. Jam, Greeners, and Taz, as well as Roro, Scotsman, all coming in for the hard. So they will be able to get to the end. However, those medium runners coming onto the soft tyres will be pretty rapid, as well as the likes of Gareth on hard tyre as well, up in the P6 after the safety car. So interesting to see what happens with those guys once we get going and how their tyres develop as the race goes on.
It'll also be interesting to see, because now obviously the likes of Scrub and Bonta, they'll be able to close back up to the field. They're on the hards, of course, that they pitted on the first lap for due to damage and other sort of issues. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on, because they've now got a second chance in this race. But we have lost two in the opening laps. We lost the man that sat on the front row in Beatrice, who looked very, very pacey, I have to say. So team owners, there's a bit of early scout and done for you. And we also lost Swayze, of course, somehow under the safety car. Not quite sure what's happened there, but the safety car is going to stay out another lap, I believe, because Bonds has still got about half a lap to go to catch up. There's a few cars now joining the back of the train. But on lap 5, it's kind of what you expected from a Gareth Taz event, carnage.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Jack. And you know, it's the Taz and Gareth effect, and then you've got Japan on top of that. You know, it's not an easy circuit to negotiate. We've seen a lot of mistakes early doors from the drivers, so it's not an easy event. And like I said, it has been a bit manic, but I'm hoping the fact they've had their pit stop now and they've settled into the Grand Prix safety car gives them that slight respite before they get going again. And rather than being side by side going into the first corner, they'll be in single file, hopefully. But yeah, it's I look forward to seeing what happens once Bonta gets onto the back of the train and we get going once again, and see what Stokey can do from pole. He's had a great start to this Grand Prix, and just a quick look at the jump with the positional changes. Up 4 positions from where he started, obviously with stops, but a good start from Stokey there in the Aston Martin.
Indeed. Now here's what's going to be interesting to watch on this restart. Of course, Fizzy Jam had a good start. He didn't have to worry about the front row because his teammate didn't get away. And then from there, he led with Greeners and just sort of built the gap, controlled the race. But now he's got to do some overtaking. So is this going to be a sign we're actually going to see what Jam's all about? You know, because we've just seen his pace and his raw ability to just lead a race. Now we've got to see him get his elbows out a little bit.
Yeah, you know, leading a Grand Prix with no cars around you and actually doing an overtake are two very different kettles of fishes. Kettle. Yeah, that's wrong, but it's a very different game between both those. You know, leading Grand Prix and doing the overtaking, as well as unfortunately for Fizzy Jam, he's on those hard tyres, so they're going to take long to activate compared to some of the soft medium runners around him who've bedded in those tyres a bit more. So we'll see what he can do, and definitely, like you mentioned, a great sort of show of what he's made of. If you can negotiate through some of these drivers on the restart on those hard tyres especially, but you've got to be careful because Greeners and Tazo are directly on his gearbox and on the same strategy as well, so I'm sure they'll try and follow him nose tail on the restart. And as I say that, safety car is in on this lap and Stokey will lead us away in a few seconds.
Indeed, 18 cars are now piled in together. Stokey gets to lead the field and control the pace as he's very much got a big gap to Will, who's not really getting close to him, but Stokey's gone a little bit early to the point where he's actually caught the safety car, however has now opted to go and leads the field as we enter lap 6, and for the first time it's a Gareth member that leads the Grand Prix. Stokey ahead of Will, ahead of Forensic Narwhal, then ahead of Total Tazo, who's then got Gareth right on his backside, of course, but they are AI and non-AI. Ricky Bobby gets past Dom on the restart. Fizzy Jam trying to slot in behind. Greeners has had an unbelievably poor start, and now Tazo trying to get past him. He very much then got caught on that inside curb and he's slotted in behind, but they've lost 2.5 seconds to the train ahead, and then Ricky Bobby's got 1.5 to the train in front. For those that haven't pit, the likes of Stokey and Will, this is good because it's creating a little bit of a gap between themselves and Fizzy Jam.
Exactly, yeah, that's what they need, having that gap. And I'm not sure what happened on the restart there, but some slow cars. Like I said, that it was over 2.3 seconds between Greeners and Fizzy Jam at the moment. Awful start for Greeners. Got a lot of catching up to do early doors. DRS not been back enabled yet, but if Fizzy Jam can get, he's already got ahead of Dom, so he's on a charge here. Water getting past Mikey. Obviously, Mikey a ghost car, but it is frantic on this restart.
Indeed. So now Jam Jam got 1.3 seconds to Ricky Bobby in 7th, of course. Those two, however, are representing the same team. We saw Dom let go the Haas driver. They are representing the same team in this one. Taz has gone off. Taz has made a mistake at Spoon Curve, and that is costly for the Alpine. He gets back on the circuit. Has he got damage? I don't think he has. I think he's managed to avoid that one, but there's an almighty train forming up behind Smitty here in P11. Kieran Wright trying to find pass. In fact, no, he's not. He's found the wall on the right-hand side. Roro gets past. I think Kieran's got damage, though, on that left-hand side. It looked like he did give a Clark to the wall, and now Scotsman close behind him as well. In fact, Kieran's going to stay out. He's got gravel all over them tyres. Might have to give the position up to the Mercedes, and does. Meanwhile, the two Ferraris swap positions as well, and simultaneously Stokey, I think, has made a mistake because he dropped 2 positions.
Yeah, he has. I'm not sure. He wasn't on board, unfortunately, but Stokey, oh, that's someone round.
That's forensic. He then just lost it.
Yeah, this is trying to stay on board and trying to keep track of everything, Jack. It's a manic lap 8 and lap 7 and 8 here. But like you mentioned, Bigwell up into the lead of the Grand Prix, was catching Stokey there. In fact, he's at the number 1. I think Marwell off again. He's always down 15, 17. He's dropped right back. He's down to last. Not sure what's happened there. He's in the wall, it looks like, and he's got the car going again, but he's up at the leads of the Grand Prix early on. So not the greatest restart for Forensic Narwhal there.
Not at all. Meanwhile, there's a right old scrap. Look at this. There's Smitty, Roro, Slowdog and Scotsman side by side as well. Scrub right in the back. When those come around 200 hard, there's more contact. The Mercedes of Scotsman and Roro come together. Can Scotsman have the pair of them heading up towards Spoon Curve? Now trying to find the inside. They're 3 wide headed towards Spoon Curve. They've come together in typical fashion. Roland is round and gets back on the track. Scotsman gets ahead. He's now into 10th place on them hard tyres. Got a gap now behind the Smitty. Slowdog now going to try and find a way past. Surely up towards 130R. Yes, he is up to the inside. Please, good God, don't go side by side. Smitty backs off, thinks better of it. DRS enable is probably the last thing I want to hear right about now, because it's all kicking off everywhere, up and down the field. Slowdog into 11th, and to say every single position is worth 5 points, I think the drivers are taking that one to heart.
I think they are, Jack. That was manic and almost a carbon copy of Vettel and Verstappen back in 2018. Their contact between the drivers, very little room between them, and unfortunately one driver comes off worse than the other. But it's been manic, and hopefully they calm down a little bit so we can catch our breath and what is going on in this Grand Prix.
Indeed, it's all kicking off. There's now 2 cars in the pits, Kieran Wright and Frenzy. Of course, they've both picked up damage on this particular lap. At the moment, Jam Jam got past Ricky Bobby. That was a fairly easy move for the Haas driver on the Red Bull. Of course, they are teammates in this event, so it does make sense. There's another car. If it's an Alpine, it's Bonta, who has lost it. Just gone up towards Spoon Curve, not actually at the Dunlop curve, not actually at the Dunlop curve, at the corner before it through the S's. He rejoins just ahead of his teammate in 15th, and he's lost it again at the Degners, and now he's behind his teammate. So team orders been taken to an extreme level over at Alpine.
I was going to say, they're coming to like say extreme team orders there, but keep an eye on Slowdog here. He's looking pretty racy behind the Scotsman. Coming through Spoon for the 9th time here, just losing a little bit of time on the exit, but he's been pretty racy. Slowdog does have that penalty that's on his shoulders at the moment, but we'll see what he can do. Bigwell fastest lap of the race, 31.4, and he's already got a 2-second lead over Stokey Jack here, so Bigwell showing what he's made of.
Indeed, as into the pits comes Ricky Bobby. Fizzy Jam Jam now gets past Mikey's AI. The next car ahead of him is Gareth. Now this could be interesting. How much does Gareth defend? How much can he defend is the question about this one. Ricky Bobby going to the hards as Fizzy Jam Jam practically pushing Gareth through the S's at the minute, trying to find a way past. He's getting desperate. Slow, as you mentioned, has fly past Scotsman through the turn 1. Slowdog absolutely flying, and then Alpha Tower. No, this is Alfa Romeo. There's too many Alphas on the grid at the minute, in my opinion, but that's just me. Everyone wants to be number 1, clearly. I
think so, yeah, and trying their best, trying to get as much camera action as they can, but Fizzy Jam Jam looking pretty racy behind water here. Does he go for the inside through the hairpin? No, it doesn't. Clash the back of McLaren there, coming through the hairpin there, and luckily I don't think he's got any damage on that Haas car, but towards Spoon, and Fizzy Jam Jam showing his pace here, Jack, and I think
he's got damage.
Has he got damage?
He's slowed to a crawl. I think he must have.
Has he got
the second back?
Has he got end plate damage on the right side? Maybe it's difficult to see from this angle.
Now I think Fizzy will argue that he brake checked him, but really it's Gareth. to be honest with you. I think more than anything. As now, here comes Greeners. Is he going to try and lunge past? Yes, he is. Jam Jam, I think, is going to let him go. Yes, he does. So Greeners now takes the net race lead as the highest seeded Gareth man comes into the pits on lap 11. And simultaneously, Fizzy Jam Jam is into the pits as well. Dare I say, that might be the race win gone for a man that has dominated proceedings.
Yeah, not better run there for Fizzy Jam Jam, and maybe misjudging the pace difference between himself and Gareth there. But front wing change and instead of medium, so he'll be going to the end of this Grand Prix, lap 11 to 27 now. But just looking at the Big Will's come into the pits as well. Jack onto set of medium, so he'll be going to the end there, and Stokey's obviously taking the race lead for now.
Yeah, it's be interesting to see how Will can get on, because he's not got that far ahead of him to the net race leader, which is Greeners. About 12 seconds. There's still a good 16 laps to go. He'll be on better and fresher tyres. So is there a possibility he could still win a shout of at least a podium?
I think so, yeah. He does have to do a lot of overtaking there. You know, obviously there has to be pit stops here as well for some of the drivers. I say that it's only the top. Well, there's 4 drivers in the top 5 that need a pit, but he does have to do some overtaking of some of the other drivers in this Grand Prix. So it won't be made easy for him, but we'll see what he can do. He's getting close to the back of Scrub here, and you might see a move come into the Cassia Triangle.
Indeed, he's actually gone to the outside and actually flies past. I don't know if that was teammates potentially letting each other through. It was. In fact, the first picked letting go the penultimate picks for Gareth. The McLaren team was the second of Gareth's choosing. The Alfa Romeo the penultimate, and he's now in a good position. But Stokey is also in. The Aston Martin, who was taken in the second round, has just come out. He's going to come out behind Scrub, just ahead of Roland, actually a bit ahead of Roland, and about 3 seconds behind his fellow Gareth Charger in TS Big Wheel, is now closing up to another Gareth member in Scotsman.
Yeah, we sort of felt like early doors it was more on Taz's side coming into qualifying, but it looks like Gareth trying to get the upper hand at the almost at the halfway stage here in Japan. And Big Will, I wonder whether there'll be team orders here. Yes, there is, and Scotsman pulls over to the left and allows his fellow Scotsman and Big Will through, coming into the hairpin.
Yeah, I'm sure they were saying all sorts of things to each other. I'm not sure what Scotsmen talk about between each other, but I'm sure they talk about things. And through goes Big Will ahead of Scotsman, and meanwhile, simultaneously, Mr. Tazo has lost his front wing on the exit of turn 1 and has brought out a virtual safety car. Now, could we see Total Season potentially sees an opportunity for a free pit stop and go on to the hards, or is he going to still extend that sim for a set of softs? It's a difficult spot.
Yeah, well, he must have read your mind there, Jack, and he's come into the pit stops there. What is going to stay out?
Oh my God, Gareth leads.
Gareth is leading the Taz versus Gareth one-off special, and safety car. Sorry, VSC is over and done with, and he's leading the Grand Prix officially. Jack, I'm almost speechless.
It's a memorable moment. Usually Gareth I think the highest Gareth's ever been in one of these is probably about 8th, and he leads the way in this one. I'm sure he's going to take this moment and wear it with pride as he flies up the Dunlop curve. Now, if he doesn't win this event, you'll probably hear about this one throughout the entire season. You won't hear about what he's just done then, but you can keep reminding him that he started leading and then picked up a penalty. Yeah,
I was just about to mention that it'll be any lull moment in a commentary about it. Oh, do you remember that time I led in Japan in the special race? Oh yeah, I forgot I told you. Yes, but in fairness to him, he's doing a good job at the moment. Unfortunately, he get that penalty there coming through the first Degner, but we'll see what he can do. He's got one more pit stop to go. Started on those hard tyres, so he'll be on to the soft tyres to finish this Grand Prix, I believe. But unfortunately for Gareth, he's got Greeners bearing down him now, who doesn't have to pit anymore.
Now, as Taz had to do a whole lot of that from him in the spell in the pit lane, he's having a disastrous race. But keep going, of course, he will still get 15 points for his team, which could be enough to actually win the event. You don't quite know, of course. In terms of the DNFs, by the way, one for each side. Sways out, of course, for Mercedes. That's Gareth's team. And Vitris out for Haas, which of course is Taz's team. So nice equal opportunities, really. But here's the interesting point we've got now for the last 13 laps. It is a bit of a chase. 10.6 seconds between Big Will and Greeners. And of course, Big Will on fresher and softer tyres. So if Greeners if Gareth can do a really good job at holding up Greeners here, it could allow his teammates, the likes of Will and Stokey, to get right up behind him in them closing laps.
Yeah, that's what I'm sure they're talking about in their party chat. But we'll see what comes of it. It's a lot of, especially we've seen how quick Greeners has been in this Grand Prix early doors, and this movement further back. It looks like Caesar's getting past Scotsman. Scotsman made a mistake actually, Jack.
He has. He's lost it in the S's, so he's now he's just joined literally just ahead of Roland, who's obviously he's going slowly because he's trying to get his tyres back to temperature and trying to get his mojo back, is I think the term I would use. So now he's down to 7th, Roland up to 6th as well. Of course, that's for Team Taz passing Team Gareth in that sense. Yellow flag sector 2. Someone's gone off, but I dare say it's Taz again. Yes, it is, and I don't mean this horribly, but Taz is having a Gareth race as Gareth is passed by Greeners.
Yeah, I understand. Well, expected really on that front. Greeners and fresher hard tyres, and we've seen how quick Greeners has been. I'm sure Gareth is just happy to be up the top at the moment and trying to score as many points as he can. It'll be interesting to see how long he stays out on those hard tyres. Lap 15 of 27, and Greeners takes the lead of this Grand Prix.
He's trying so hard, is Gareth. Listen, he tried to stay in his slipstream. He was weaving up and down the straight to try and do anything possible to come back at him, but sadly just didn't have enough in the tank. So now hopefully he will begin to get away. But the gap between the leaders 9.1 now, and it was just 10.7 on the previous lap. So it's the right amount of pace to be closing up towards him, and this could be a really interesting finish. As I will be interested as well to see, because everyone, I assume from 9th downwards, because Mikey's just been passed now, will be bumped up in position as Ricky Bobby has lost it now through turn 1 and is back path by there. It's probably the battle of the century between Mikey and anyone.
I think so. Yeah, he's Mikey's Ghost Car's having a great showing in this Grand Prix, and showing how to race, because he's I think maybe one of the few drivers who's made a mistake. Not made a mistake in this Grand Prix. Car's littered across the circuit almost every lap. So, take a leaf out of his book, I think. You get more yellow flag in Sector 1, and it looks like Dom's out the Grand Prix coming through the S's at turn 6.
It is, on the left-hand side. How has he got it that wrong? They must have got that horrendously wrong to end up down there. But yeah, end of the day for Dom now. So that is another man gone for Team Taz. So Taz has lost 2, Gareth has lost just 1. And dare I say, I don't know how the event's going on the other side of things, of course, on the Beastie NUFC channel, but here it is, advantage Gareth.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, could it be Gareth's year? We'll have to wait and see. Still a long way to go. Still 11 laps left of this Grand Prix, and plenty more action to come. And obviously, we do still have. We'll have to find out what happens in the other tier to find out the final result for this Grand Prix. But looking at the mini map, Jack, is a great little fight.
Green has lost it! Green has lost it!
Oh, dear me.
Through the S's, he's got it on the curve. Gareth retakes the race lead. Greeners rejoins the circuit, but he's now going to have a heap of time taken out of him. Gap now down to 3 seconds, coming even lower. And dare I say, that might have been the move that could cost Greeners the win.
I think so. The fact he's made a mistake there, and it's all close gap. It's 6 seconds drop to Big Will. Now it's 2.7 to Big Will, and like I said, it's advantage Gareth once again in his Grand Prix, and Big Will fresh medium tyres right up his street.
And simultaneously, another Taz member loses it. Ricky Bobby down in 10th place has dropped it up Dunlop curve, and he's got no front wing on that car, and he's going to have to crawl his way back to the pits. I know the old Free Line song goes 30 years of hurt for Gareth. It might be 2 Taz events worth of hurt this year. He might have finally done it, but there's still half a distance to go in this one. We're not quite sure what's happening over on the other stream, but in the space of 1 lap, 2 mistakes from 2 Taz's guys. It's probably a face in hands moment for him.
I think so. I hated that song during the Euros, Jack, and you've somehow made it sound very good. There with that reference, so kudos to you. But like I said, I think at the moment it is, like we've said a few times now, it is advantage Gareth, but still a long way to go. Still 10 laps left of this Grand Prix, and we've seen how manic it's been already. It's still a long way to go in this Grand Prix.
Fizzy Jam Jam continues on his charge up. He's now at P6, 5.5 seconds behind Caesar. He's just passed the fellow Tasman. The next 3 cars are all Gareth, so he would be doing his team a huge favour if he can get back. And what a comeback trial it would be, by the way, if he can get himself back up after making that extra pit stop due to get that front wing change on the same lap that we saw Big Will pit. Gap, like I said, just about 5 seconds now to Caesar, then 7 seconds to Stokey. He's got about 10 laps to do it. The way he's lapping, though, it's more than possible. That man looks very, very quick ahead of the new season. Keep an eye on him. Ricky Bobby now is pit for that front wing. He's going to come out, well, a good probably half a minute ahead of his fellow teammate at the Alpine team, Mr. Tazo, who's still rocking around. And that's what we mentioned in qualifying. That's the important element of this event. Just get to the checkered flag, because every position is worth the points.
Exactly, yeah, and those positions are really key, regardless of where you finish. It is key points for the overall title between Taz and Gareth. So you even if you finish last, you're still an important member of either team here in this one-off event. But I wonder when Gareth will come into the pit, Jack. I mean, he's done 70 laps on those tyres. I can't imagine doing many more before his pit stop.
No, but he's doing a really good job at the minute of just lapping, because I'm going to check his previous lap time to see how he's getting on in terms of how his lap degradation. I mean, the last 3 laps or so, he's been lapping within about 3/10 of each lap. So he's lapping well at the moment. He just set his personal best just 2 laps ago, so he clearly is enjoying those tyres at the moment. I reckon he probably gets a 3/6 further down as well. He's not really being closed up either, though, by Greeners. Greeners remain about 3.6, so you would argue that the pace is there, but if it is there on the hards, then it's going to be even better on the soft, so it's better to pit early to capitalise on that.
Yeah, I think so, as Taz gets another penalty for his troubles down in 17th place. But yeah, no, it's a great point, and you'd think someone with Warder's knowledge of all the commentaries, he'd know when to come in. So we'll see what happens once he gets where he might come in on this lap. But Will taking his time to close that gap up to Greeners. It's slowly getting there. It's now 1.1, so it could be by the time we get round to lap 19, Big Will be on the gearbox of the Ferrari of Greeners ahead of him.
Yes, this is going to be the battle throughout the rest of the race. We reckon this will be now into lap 19. Let's see if Gareth does come into the bits on this particular lap. No, he's still going to stay out there. Gap now down to 2.9. Will's lost a couple of tenths around then final couple of corners, to be fair. Good final sector by Greeners. If this isn't a sign that Greeners is looking strong into this new season, I don't know what is at the moment. He's been lapping fantastically and looks as a really good prospect for the draft night, as he's one of them experienced heads that you don't really expect to see that much change out, but this year looks very, very quick.
He is, isn't he? Yeah, he's doing a great job at the moment, minus that spin earlier on, but it could be sort of pre-season nerves, let's call it, and we'll see how he does, and obviously what tier he pops into once we'd have draft night on Wednesday. But doing a good job so far, and just about staying ahead of Big Will, but it's now tipped into below a second. So Big Will, if he's quick enough, will be within the DRS on this lap.
Yes, of course, this is where it gets really interesting. The gap continues to fluctuate. Seems Greeners is fantastic at traction exits. He seems to be able to get a little bit more traction compared to Will, but fair, that time around the hairpin, that was very nice from Will. On the exit of that corner, very, very bumpy, easy to get that wrong. But let's keep an eye on Gareth now, as the gap's down to 2.5. I don't know if Gareth is going to hang himself out to dry. I mean, there is that possibility as well, because it's not a bad idea, but he's still in a good position himself, and every single position matters. So what do you do in this situation, Ollie? Do you see that your lap times are good in pit?
That's what I do, yeah, knowing that there's still life in the tyres and they don't fall off the cliff mid-lap, which wouldn't be great. We've seen in the past when that has happened and is causing off of some sort. So I pit sooner rather than later, and it looks like he's taking a leaf out of my book and he's coming to the pits there, Jack.
Commentators think alike, I think is the old saying. As into the pits comes Warder Zero onto the soft compound tyre. Let's see where he comes out with regards to all the traffic. It's going to be passed by Caesar and Fizzy Jam Jam, I believe. There's also the lap car of Mr. Tazo in between. The next car is Roland, who's now coming down the start-finish straight. Where is Gareth on the right-hand side? He's now going up to speed. I think he's going to come out ahead of Roland, so that's a good position. That's something Gareth can work with. Get the hammer down, remain in P6, and that's a phenomenal result for a man that you don't really expect to see up there.
No, exactly. It's a phenomenal job, and things have gone his way. He's kept it clean, not made any mistakes, minus that one penalty. But he's done a great job at the moment. And positional change-wise, he's up 12 positions from where he started, and we've still got 7 laps left of this Grand Prix, so he can still gain on where on the grid. So he's doing a fantastic job at the moment. So we'll see how it ends in 7 laps' time. Greener's just about holding the lead of a Big Will, but Big Will looking racy, especially on those fresher medium tyres.
Yes, 2 battles going on at the moment. Big Will now coming up towards 130R, just behind Greeners. Fizzy Jam Jam right on the back of his rival STR Total Caesar, of course, in the Gareth vs Taz. This is 2 battles that could be the difference between victory and defeat for either of these 2 teams. Out of the final couple of corners, some really good exit from Greeners. I don't think Will has got enough down this start-finish straight to really have a go at him. He's closing in, of course, but I don't think it's going to be close enough. Meanwhile, Fizzy Jam Jam up towards the Casio Triangle. Cedar has gone very defensive on the right-hand side. I know he does touring car races from time to time on Forza. I think he took the touring car lines a little bit too seriously here in open wheel, but down the start-finish straight he goes to the outside line for Fizzy Jam Jam. The pole sitter on his recovery drive is up to P4 and ahead of Caesar, and I don't really think Caesar had too much of an answer.
No, it's Fizzy Jam Jam just using the momentum, using the DRS round the final corner to get past the Williams car there. Relatively standard move around the outside, and I don't think Caesar had anything to say about that. And just looking at the gaps now, Warder closing that gap up to Caesar as well. So if you can close that gap a little bit more, he might be able to get into the top 5 with a few laps left of this Grand Prix remaining.
I never want to hear Gareth make an excuse again. He was not feeling well ahead of this, and all of a sudden now he's running in P5. Maybe next time he should go have another jab, maybe have the flu jab or something for his next race, because clearly after a vaccine he seems at his peak. He's now just 2.3 seconds behind Caesar. Of course they are on the same team, so it might be too difficult, but he's still got to get close to him. He's doing a good job at the moment. But meanwhile, the battle for the lead, Greeners against Big Will, as Tunstall City continues to close up. He's 2.5 seconds back now with just 6 laps to go left of the Japanese Grand Prix that has been, another word for it, manic out of the final corner. Once again, it's a good exit from Greeners, but this time Will a little bit closer, but still don't think close enough, as he's got barely any ERS as well. And that's the crucial thing, I think, Ollie. Will has burnt a lot of ERS just closing up to Greeners, so he hasn't really got anything to attack Greeners.
I was just going to mention that, Jack, that yeah, exactly. He's limited by his ERS usage. It may be an error there on his part, trying to close the gaps earlier on in the Grand Prix. Will count against him with 5 laps left of this Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see. And also, the longer he leaves it, those medium tyres will start to fall off the cliff now as it comes to the end of this Grand Prix. And Greener's doing a fantastic defensive job, putting his car in the right place. And like you mentioned, he's got an extra 20% over Big Will ERS usage-wise, so if he can utilise that, he might be able to stay in the lead this Grand Prix.
Yeah, now, for anyone that watches F1XL Extra will know about the infamous curse of the Greeners bottle. Every single week it seems to come up with a different appearance during extra shows, and now I think it's time to prove that we can put that one to bed for season 18. If he can hold on just these final few laps and not do a Greeners bottle, then we'll see the elusive meme die. But Big Will is hunting him down, heading up towards 130R, and once again is closing and closing, and is very, very close to the back of him as they come through 130R and now towards the Casio Triangle. Has he got an opportunity? Is he out of this corner? Because once again, every single lap, Green has been phenomenal at his exit through here, and just look at that once again. Will gets onto the curb, was too deep into the corner, but he's still that little tenth closer every single lap. It's 1/10, this time 3.5. Last lap it was 4.5, and still, because he hasn't got anything left in the tank, he can't have a go into turn 1, and Greeners just continues to save and hold it, and he's going to have another lap ahead. It's one thing to get close, as they always say, Ollie. It's another thing to get past.
Exactly, Jack. Yeah, Greener's doing a fantastic job there, saving up his ERS usage and using it at the perfect time to counter Big Will's DRS usage. So Big Will, if I was him, I'd save it up for a few laps and go for almost maybe a penultimate lap or last lap lunge down the inside using the extra ERS he saved up. But we'll have to wait and see what Big Will's planning, because it sees it's not worked the last couple laps. Yellow flag in sector 1, and I think
Roland's lost it.
But he's...
Oh no! He's come back on the track, and then his teammates lost it literal next corner.
Oh dear, AlphaTauri not doing well there, are they?
And Roland's got absolutely no front wing as well, so that is disaster for him. He's going to have to crawl all the way back to the pits. I don't think Slowdog's got any damage, but that's really not what AlphaTauri wanted for lap 23.
Yes, exactly. Not ideal. Just a note, Gareth is up into P5 now, got past Caesar. Not sure what happened because he was about a second and a half behind, so maybe Caesar making a mistake there, but Gareth up into the top 5 now. However, he has got that 3-second penalty looming over him, so at the current rate he will drop back into P6 with 3 laps left of this Grand Prix. But once again, Greeners holding strong at the lead of the Grand Prix and keeping Will at bay.
Yes, 4 laps to go left of the Japanese Grand Prix, and still Greeners hangs in the balance. He holds on to the race lead, of course. It's only worth 5 points, but it could be the 5 points that make or break at the minute. They should be coming up towards the end of the F1 and F2 side of things, I believe, at the moment, because we did start a couple minutes later, so we can get the results. We can get the Gareth and Taz in, of course, to ask some questions and obviously see how they found it. I mean, Taz has had a quite shambolic race himself. He's down in P17, 39 seconds behind. But Gareth, I don't think we're going to get him off the microphone because he is having the time of his life.
Yeah, I think he won't want to stop racing. I don't think Jack. He'll just want to go on and on and on and wish it was an endurance race more than an F1 race because he's up in P5 and loving life on those soft tyres. And it might be a bit of a push to close the gap to Vizzy Jam, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, Big Will 2 tenths behind Greeners here. Can he make a move coming into 130? It's not close enough coming through here. Very rarely see side-by-side action through there, but can he do anything into the Casio triangle? He tries his best, but not close enough for side-by-side action. Have to try again coming down the pit straight.
Here they come again. Once again, a good exit from Greeners, but he's not quite far enough ahead. They both try and go left and right, trying to make sure Greeners doesn't give a slipstream to Big Will. Big Will trying to remain in it, and once again he isn't close enough. But Greeners, I don't know about you, but every single time I watch Will go through turn 1, he's so much more cautious than Greeners. Greeners throwing it through that first corner is allowing a good 3 tenths gap. That means throughout the rest of the track, Will's playing catch up. Yeah,
no, you're exactly right. It looks at Big Will maybe not sure on his braking zone as his tyres started to degrade there, but it is a big old gap that he's breaking before Greeners, and he's losing that momentum coming through turn 1, and he's almost up to half a second there coming through the exit of turn 1, and it's moved back up again to Will being more cautious here behind the race leader, but he needs to be brave, otherwise he's not going to get that win here.
Yes, and it's coming right down to the wire as we get ready to begin the penultimate lap. And look at Will, he's getting very close, but you can't really overtake around here. I mean, we saw the lads earlier try it, and it ultimately ended in spins everywhere. There was, I think, Slowdog was involved. There was a couple of cars just all ended up in calamity. So they don't want to repeat them antics on the final few laps, but Will is closing in again, heading up towards 130R. Has got the slipstream, but again, has not got enough in the tank, but is still getting close, heading up towards the Casio triangle. Will he think about a lunge? He backs out and is going to have to wait to see if he can get a good exit out of the final couple of corners. It's not bad, it's on the curb, but he risked it and rolled the dice and has actually come out with a pretty good number down towards turn 1. He goes to the right hand side as Greeners has gone right to the pit wall. Can he have a little pop to the outside? He's going around the outside for the first time. He in the end has to back off and once again breaks early for the first few corners and has lost the time.
Fantastic defensive work there. Greeners almost glued to the pit wall coming down that straight. Will try to go around the outside but wasn't close enough to go side by side through turn 1. And it is coming down to those final 2 laps now. And again, Greeners doing better through turn 1. They're 6 tenths splitting them coming through the S's and turn 1. So Big Will, I think he needs to be braver on those brakes like we mentioned the previous lap. But Greeners, fantastic defensive job. And like we said, using the ERS better than Big Will. More yellow flag in sector 2. It looks like that's Kieran right off with... not just Kieran right off, that's what it looks like, but hopefully he doesn't get in the way of the leaders.
Yes, I think he's got back going again and got out of the way. There's also a car. Scotsman has gone off in the first sector. That is huge news, really, because that's 2 of the Team Gareth team have just lost 10 points in a couple of corners because Ricky Bobby has got back past. Meanwhile, here comes Will up towards 130R. He's gone to the inside line. Surely not 130R. Down the inside goes Big Will. Greeners forced off onto the curb. Still managed to keep defenders. They head on towards the Casio triangle for the penultimate time. And still side by side they go. Will got the inside line and gets past and gets his elbows out. Big Will, at one of the most unlikely corners, comes at him. And I think who has got DRS? Neither of them do. One of them's got to open it, but Green is coming back at him down towards turn 1, round towards the long hairpin, and back down into the goat. He lost it! He's into the grass. He's got back going again. And Big Will takes the lead on the final lap of the race through absolute carnage, and somehow Greeners has kept it out the wall.
I'm absolutely speechless. How did Greeners keep it out the wall? And fair play to Big Will. Up the inside, or Green is holding the outside line, coming through 130R. Fantastic work, but Green has got trouble now. He's got Stokey on his gearbox as well, but a manic final sector in the beginning of the first sector there on the penultimate lap, and on the final lap as well, Jack. But what a great side-by-side duel there.
That was two drivers who had respect for each other and really got their elbows out and knew that they wanted to come out on top, as TS Big Will finally on the final lap gets past and is going to take the victory. It means that Team Gareth is going to win both events, as Meady took the checkered flag in the Tier 1 event with Master Swain in second place. So it's a 1-2 in the Tier 1 side of things. But here in Tier 2, it's not going to be a 1-2. However, it's going to be a 1-3 for Team Gareth. Big Will took the gamble under the safety car to not pit and went for the standard soft to medium strategy, and it paid off right at the very end. He takes the victory here at Japan with a phenomenal drive. Big Will wins. Greeners does a fantastic, consistent job to come home in second. Tunstall Stokey take a bow P3. Fizzy Jam Jam, what a comeback in P4. And Gareth, the GOAT Davis, is going to score P5 against all the odds, but I think he'll lose it. Yes, he will. Caesar will come home P5. Gareth still finishes P6. What a job for him. It will actually be Mikey P7. Roland's retired on the final lap, so it'll be Bonter in P8. Scrub P9. Scotsman P10. And I'm not quite sure. I think it's Smitty P11. Forensic P12. Ricky Bobby P13. And Kieran Knight P14. I think Taz will jump up to 16th. But what an event that was. And what a final lap that was, Ollie.
Yeah, I'm still speechless. I got goosebumps as they went side by side to 130R. We don't normally see that sort of action. And then coming into turn 1, Greeners doing his best Tokyo drift through turn 1 and somehow keeping that. He reminded me of, for those who have watched Lightning McQueen, drifting on the grass in the Cars film, and a red car as well. But fair play, managed to keep it on circuit, and like you said, Jack, when it happened, two drivers who respect each other and gave it as good as both got, and gave us a fantastic show there. And a phenomenal race here in Japan, and it's given me the beginnings of looking forward to commentating this season of F1XL when we begin in the next few weeks.
Indeed, well, it's not just the next few weeks. We're 1 week away from the start of the season, and, well, you have to say, Big Will comes in as team owner for the new season with a lot of form. He takes the checkered flag on the final lap. Greeners continues where he left off really last season, looking like a very good underdog in F4, and might continue to be just that for the new season. And P3, fair play to Tunstall Stokey, the F5 driver last season, put on a fantastic show here today, and signs that he has got some very consistent pace as well. And we've got to say fair play to Fizzy Jam Jam. What a comeback that was in P4. But now we await for the official confirmation. We get the points tally. People get their calculators out and start working out where they are. But I'm going to bring both of the team owners in here as I ask you this question, Ollie. Can I have a driver of the day, please?
Oh, how do I name driver of the day? I think for me, I'm going to have to give it to Big Will, starting P7. And give us a fantastic show, great racing from him. But I think everyone in the race deserves an applaud tonight. They've given us a great show. But for me, I'm going to say Big Will, Jack.
Well, I'm going to go for the man that started on pole and dominated, really. I'm going to go Fizzy Jam Jam. Honourable mention by Mikey Farks AI. 20th to 7th. What a drive for him. But yeah, so there is your final results. I would run through it. We've only got 4 seconds left. But now the calculators begin and we get ready to work out where on earth everyone has finished and who's going to take the victory. I couldn't quite judge it, but I would say off pure positions of sort of who I knew, I think it is advantage Gareth.
Right, so Mikey, Fark, the biggest, best driver in the entire race, and he wasn't even there.
Driver of the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, said.
How are you boys doing? Obviously, Taz, I know it weren't the best Grand Prix for you, but you still had some good pace at times, I thought.
I'll tell the jokes here. Well, to be fair, before we joined the party, we did come to an agreement that me and Ollie are going to be commentating F1 next season, and Gareth's going to be racing in the league, so, yeah. Isn't that right, Gareth?
I'm fucking knackered. I'm not doing that again. That was tough.
Oh dear.
I'll say this much quickly before we do. It's about damn time that he's had a good race in the Tazo versus Warder, because the last 2 that we've done, both times he's had horrendous races.
It's not bad considering you didn't want to show up, innit?
Oh, I didn't want to show up,
and
I
going to.
shouldn't have.
Okay, what are we doing? I think I got my breath back.
Well, at the minute we're waiting for the official results.
Okay.
I need the other race results. If anybody's listening who can send me them quickly, I'm just updating the spreadsheet.
Guys, just a quick
quick
note, Gareth. Sorry, Jack, I should ask Gareth a few questions, because obviously a fantastic display from you, Gareth. You know, almost racing with one arm there. I mean, and at one point you were leading the Grand Prix. And how did that feel? And how stressed were you at the same time?
I definitely had a nosebleed. I'm certain. But it was actually, it didn't. I wasn't that stressed. I was just telling the guys, like, I'll hold Greeners up as long as possible. Because I knew I wasn't going to finish in that position. But my pace actually, that safety car helped. Being on the hards as well, I knew it was a different strategy to everyone else on the grid, but yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. That was an awful lot of fun. Having a few battles as well. Green is dubious in his defensive weaving on a few occasions, but I think it made up that he lost it in front of me, so I got back the lead. So yeah.
And for you now, Gareth, I mean, looking forward to the season. You know, we kick off next week, and obviously you've now moved over to the racing side of things. I mean, what are you looking at chances-wise for next season?
I just want to talk. I don't want to race.
Oh, love it! Absolutely love it.
I have really enjoyed this, but yeah, I think I will come back to racing to somewhere, but. I think XL, I need my talking for XL. It's the thing that keeps me sane.
Very good. Well, we look forward to having you back in the commentary box shortly. But yeah, I guess, Jack, we're just waiting on those points to come in, and we can announce a winner.
Yes. Well, I'm just looking at the the tier 1 and tier 2 race. And despite the fact it was a Gareth 1-2. The rest of the top 10, other than one in P10, which was St. Lee, or Steely as I prefer to call him, everyone in there was Team Taz, so that, I would say, gives advantage Team Taz, but we still wait the official word. I'm sure there's a lot of calculator pressing going on in the background at the minute as we await those official results. But I do have to say, Ollie, in terms of the actual race itself, is there anyone in particular that obviously we didn't mention that caught your eye in terms of pace? Because there was quite a few out there that impressed me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we had obviously the top 2 in Big Whale and Greeners. Stokey gave us a good show, and also a good shout out to Fizzy Jam Jam. Obviously, had the race in his hands until he got that damaged front wing. So him as well. Obviously. Gareth and Taz give us a good show, but obviously not sure on where they'll be going next year. But it's a tricky one to try and judge, obviously with it being a one-off. But yeah, but probably those guys, and also Caesar gave us a good show as well. So we'll see where they are placed once we do the draft on Wednesday. But yeah, we'll just see what happens with some of the guys and where they're placed.
Just a bit of information on Fizzy Jam as well. He would have won that race if he didn't decide to do a cavity search of my gearbox at the hairpin.
Also true. Right. Stop getting the final results now.
So, obviously, I know you guys are busy working behind the scenes as well, but
one of us
Gareth, obviously, well, I'll ask Gareth then, to know who it is. And obviously, Gareth, your team done fantastically well in the race. They didn't have a good qualifying, but they bounced back in the race. Was there anyone in particular that impressed you? Obviously, you know, you're keeping your eye, 'cause obviously we're hosting the 2 nights of draft night. Was there anyone that caught your eye from your team that thought was fantastic?
Oh, all of them. They were all fantastic.
What a shitty response, eh? Oh, all of them! I don't want to fit anybody, no!
Obviously, Big Will showed some really good
pace
and
bias.
just determination. But there's also, I mean, looking back, Scrubs, I've got to give a big shout out to him because he was pretty much plumb last at the start, same as Kieran, and they just battled on through. To be honest, it's the kind of driver that you want, someone that will just continue going on. So team owners are definitely going to look at those ones. Got to give a shout out to Smitty as well. He did a fantastic race, considering he's never raced in XL before and never raced. Well, this is his first F1 game. He's done a really, really good job, and I'm glad I picked him.
Yeah. Taz, I know you're busy, but anyone that obviously from Team Taz that caught your eye?
Not even a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
That man did not feel confident going into the race tonight, and to put in a performance like he did is incredible, to be fair. Yeah, the lad deserves nothing but credit, and that's the only time he's getting it from me as well.
Will the green as bottle be coming out?
Yeah, exactly. I honestly, like, the way he fought and the way he battled, I didn't even need to I could see it on the minimap, and he just absolutely elbows out kept it from Will, and to do it for as long as he did with no backup, that's got to be applauded right there.
I think, Ollie, you'd agree with me when I say that he boxed brilliantly. His ERS management and the way that he sort of went about it, with going aggressive into turn 1, letting Will close up in the sectors that he couldn't really overtake, and then pulling away in the sectors where he could. It was very smart boxing.
Yeah, very good race management from Greeners there. Like you mentioned, using the ERS at the right times to stop Will from getting past him. And you know, I think ultimately it was a case that the tyres went in Will's favour, being on the mediums compared to Greeners' hard tyres at the end. But he did give us a good show right at the end with that fantastic drift through turn 1. So I'm hoping someone dubs over the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift soundtrack to that first corner. Or I'll do it if no one else does it.
That sounds like a challenge to someone.
I hope so. Gareth, just quickly, I mean, obviously all your team were in one big party. I mean, was there much sort of teamwork in your team? I mean, like we see when team members race normally. You know, your Ferraris or your Ferraris that work together, but as a whole collective, was there a big team effort to work together?
Oh, huge effort. Caesar wasn't even in the party and he let me through because he knew I was quick on those stops. Everyone was, you know, giving information, taking information well. There was no, you know, if someone, you know, sometimes people could take it a little bit unlike constructive criticism. You know, everyone was taking it positively. And to be honest, if I had these bunch of lads as a team owner, I wouldn't know who to pick out of them because they were all taking everything so well. They all had a lot of knowledge. I think I've just gone off on a tangent, so I'll shut up.
Guys, it's time.
Oh God.
I haven't even got the spreadsheet up because I've not been able to.
Gareth doesn't know who's won this. I'm genuinely reading this as a Okay, so the scores: 995 to 975. 20 points in it, and the winner of Taz versus Warder. And still the champion!
Oh, fucking hell.
Congratulations,
Right, good night,
Taz.
everyone. Thanks so much for watching.
Oh, that was a tough one. Oh. Gareth, I cannot applaud your line enough. I cannot applaud your line enough. That we've had 2 times we've done this, and 2 times let's be honest, it's not been that close. But for this one to be that is just incredible. But 20 points. Oh. Well.
There was the thing is that they gave everything, my guys. I know they
It
gave
sounds
it
like he's
all.
just lost the FA Cup final.
And happy I could have done more, but those guys gave everything, so I can't fault them. They, to me, they're winners.
I think what we can say, and I think who said it? Green has said it the best. That is the best Taz Water event we've had so far. This is the 3rd instalment, and it was the best one.
Completely agree. And we were obviously in our party in particular. We were talking about, oh, we really need other guys to pick it up. And you know what? That's where we won it. Is the other race, because 3rd down to 9th was all my guys, and ultimately that's what the difference was. Because Gareth, I think you had like a 100-point lead from our race. So, for the fact that they've managed to do that, incredible. But it just goes to show you that not only the fact that, like, I think the first time we did this, it was really only the one race. It was pretty evident pretty quickly. But now the fact that we've got 2 races, it does mean that I can turn on a tangent, and just for it to be that close is incredible. But applauded to every single one who competed and who even put their names forward for it, because that was good fun tonight. Even if I was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. Ollie, any final closing remarks?
I just want to say a big thank you for all the drivers who turned up in both the races. Give us a fantastic show this evening in Japan, and thank you to Taz and Gareth for organising another entertaining event, and long may it continue. And I look forward to the season ahead.
Yeah.
Just quickly,
say,
before we let you end it, we just need to give a quick shout out to the charities as well. I forgot about this. I was meant to do that in my spiel. Okay, fine. Go on then. You do it.
I was going to ask. I was going to say. Obviously, it was an event for charity. Taz, your chosen charity.
Mind, mental health. We're still in the mix of a horrendous period of time, so mental health is very important. So. Yeah, as much as we can, I want to try and help them. So, good cause, and if you're wanting to put anything forward, we'll make sure that we put links up for you all.
And obviously, Gareth is sadly the loser, but the charity still deserves to be donated to. Gareth, who are you representing?
So today, I was gonna split it, because obviously Brain Tumor Trust is something that's quite close to me and my partner Stacey. But I was also going to go with, I think it's BEAT. It's an eating disorder charity. A good friend of both Taz and I's family member is suffering at the moment. God knows I've suffered in the past. So I thought it would be nice to have a split one this time and do something that's close to the community as well.
Absolutely perfect. And of course, go donate to any of them. Don't just worry about who won. Because every single charity needs our help throughout what is a tough time for the entire world, I must admit. But here in F1XL, sadly that ends the Gareth Taz event. If anyone's got nothing else to say, I'll finish off with a 15-minute outro.
I was just going to. I'll just add that I'll add the Just Giving page onto social media and the site for the Mind charity over the weekend coming, and then you can see my donation into that. And then if anyone else would like to donate from that for the event, then they're more than welcome.
And lastly, I'd like to give a massive shout out to Scotsman. Absolute legend of a man. Once again, coming up trump when I needed him most by crashing out. So, Keith, thanks very much, man. This is for you.
In typical Taz fashion, he makes it about Scotsman. The only man, I think, in F1XL history to live rent-free in Mr. Taz.
There's difference between living rent-free and just getting absolutely peltered, and peltered is the right word I think you're looking for.
So, right. So there we have it. That is Taz vs Gareth done. Thank you very much for tuning in to myself and Ollie, and of course to Gunhead and Beastie over on the other channel. Of course, they provided the brilliant stream. I've heard good things about them, where they provided the Tier 1 and Tier 2 race. But from the Tier 3 and the Tier 4, that is it. And officially, the road to Season 18 is very much at an impasse. We get ready for the best week in the entire season. And I said week because this time it's not just one night on the Wednesday night. Draft night is draft nights. Wednesday and Thursday on this very channel, 7 o'clock start time, we'll see F6, 4 and 2 determined night 1 and F5, 3 and 1 determined on night 2 in the biggest F1XL has ever reached. 120 full-time drivers along with a good another 10 to 15 reserves jumping in this season for what sets to be the biggest season in history. Join myself, Gareth and Taz, where we'll bring you all the action and we wait to see who name is picked up where. But for now, from all of us, we thank you very much. We hope you have a fantastic week, and we'll see you same time, same place, Wednesday night for the part 1 of part 2 of Draft Night. For myself and Ollie, thank you very much and good night.